Americans heard taped testimony from the former Attorney General Barr, stating that Donald Trump's claims the election was stolen were BS.
The former president's own daughter, Ivanka, told investigators she accepted the AG's assessment. The committee also laid out a timeline of the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol.
We're trying to hold the upper deck. We're trying to hold the upper deck now.
The House Select Committee investigating the riot and what led up to it provided new looks into the attack, including surveillance footage inside the Capitol and dispatch audio from police as they were bombarded by the crowd. The committee argued the attack was a, quote, attempted coup. Fox 4's Blake Hansen in now with more from this first hearing. Blake.
Yeah, Heather and Steve, this hearing is the first of several that'll feature a mix of never-before-seen footage along with live testimony. But it is ultimately a culmination of what the committee has uncovered in investigating the riots, and that included some newly released security footage and body camera footage of the attack on the Capitol. Much of the footage shows the violence that officers faced firsthand trying to hold the lines. More than 100 police officers were injured. Some rioters armed with pipes, flagpoles, bats, and bear spray. 9 people died during and after the rioting, including a woman shot and killed by police. But the committee's investigation wasn't just about the attack, but the attack being a culmination of efforts by former President Trump to overturn the election. The committee interviewed rioters who said they were inspired by President Trump's words, and it showed deposition videos from far-right Proud Boy members saying membership increased after the president refused to condemn them in a debate. Committee co-chair Republican Liz Cheney also revealed other serious allegations against the president.
You will hear that President Trump was yelling and, quote, really angry at advisors who told him he needed to be doing something more. And aware of the rioters' chance to hang Mike Pence, the president responded with this sentiment, quote, maybe our supporters have the right idea. Mike Pence, quote, deserves it.
The committee says in hearings it'll be holding over the next month, it will focus on evidence showing President Trump knew he lost the election. It will also focus on shakeups within his Department of Justice, as well as efforts to pressure Vice President Mike Pence. The committee showed some of the more than 1,000 interviews it collected.
I saw absolutely zero basis for the allegations, but they were made in such a sensational way that they obviously were influencing a lot of people, members of the public, that there was this systemic corruption in the system and that their votes didn't count and that these machines controlled by somebody else were actually determining it, which was complete nonsense. And it was being laid out there, and I told them that it was crazy stuff, and they were wasting their time on that, and it was doing a grave disservice to the country.
I respect Attorney General Barr, so I accepted what he was saying.
Republican leadership sought to downplay the committee's work earlier in the day. Here's House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy.
Now let's be very clear. The violence at the Capitol that day was wrong, and we have repeatedly denounced it. But keeping the Capitol safe is not the point of Pelosi's illegitimate Select Committee.
And in the last hour, we heard from a Capitol Police officer about her experiences firsthand, including being knocked unconscious in the scuffle, as well as from a filmmaker who documented some of the far-right Proud Boys. It's one of 2 organizations the DOJ is accused of seditious conspiracy. Again, this is the first of several hearings like this where this committee is going to be presenting its evidence. This kind of felt a lot like an opening statement where they kind of outlined what they're going to be presenting, but still a lot more evidence they've foreshadowed that we have yet to see just yet.
And over the next month.
Exactly. Yep.
It's going to come out. More video, you think, too, as well as...
We would expect that, including those deposition videos. They right at the end of the hearing tonight played some of those interviews again, and so that's the hint coming forward.